So if you want to apply to med school, you're going to have to do a fair amount of work experience and volunteering, but it's kind of hard to know how much to do, what to do, and kind of why you are doing it as well. I'm Akshi, I'm a fourth year medical student at Imperial, and I've gone through this process before, and I think it's worked because I'm at Imperial now. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about what exactly this means, how to go about doing it, how much to do, and what you need to get out of it. So if that sounds like a good idea to you and like a complete guide, let's get straight into the video. So let's start off with defining both of them. So there's a clear distinction between the two. Volunteering, number one, is essentially any service that you provide to a community, normally free of charge, i.e. you don't get paid from it unfortunately, but there's not, strict line, you can get, I guess, some pay from it, but the main thing is that you're providing a good service to a community who require it. So this can be either working at a charity shop, providing, food for people in a care home, tutoring kids who are doing their 11 plus, anything really that involves you providing a service. Now, work experience, on the other hand, is simply shadowing a healthcare professional around their job on a day-to-day basis, and it's not particularly long. It's just maybe across a week, and it can be at a GP, a hospital, A&E, wherever really you choose. So those are the two different things, and the distinction is clear because you need to know what you're doing. So next, let's talk about how much you actually need to do. And this is a little bit of a grey area, but the general philosophy is you should be doing a lot of volunteering and a minimal amount of work experience. That's what I did, and I think it worked. So for work experience, it's far more clear. You normally do 1 to 2 weeks of hospital work experience. So this can be shadowing a consultant, an F1, a registrar, whoever you want, but at a hospital. And you do 1 week of a GP. So you shadow anyone, a GP at any local GP that you have. So all in all, there should be about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much time you spend at the hospital. Now, the reason why it's so short is because work experience really is just about you getting a feel for what it's like to work in a healthcare environment, and just you making sure that you'd be happy to do this as a career. Now, volunteering, I think, is more important, and this is kind of a little bit less specific in terms of how much you need to do. Now, I'd say the minimum you want to do for volunteering is for 6 months, once a week. I think that's sort of a rough minimum, maybe 3 to 6 months. Plenty. Now, me personally, what I did was I did 3 weeks at hospital. So I did 1 week at Addenbrooke's, 1 week at Whipps Cross, and those are my hospital weeks. And I did 1 week at Headstone Lane GP. So that was a GP who were very small, sort of off the road kind of GP, and they were really good. Even though they were small, they only had 1,000 patients, I guess, and they only had 1 GP, but it was a really good experience. I had a lot of one-to-one support because I was the only real student there. So yeah, it was really helpful and I enjoyed it. Now, volunteering wise, I did quite a lot, and I think I did it a little bit overkill, but let's talk about what I did. So I spent around a year at a charity shop, a BHF shop, and I did that once a week. I spent around 2 years as part of my school community service at a care home, and that was about once a week, obviously excluding holidays. I then also spent around 3 years at another care home that I organised myself, and that was roughly once a week, but I'd miss, exam periods and holidays and sort of other times when I didn't want to go in, I just wouldn't go in. And then I also did 6 months at a hospital. Now, this isn't work experience because what I was doing is I was going to the hospital and talking to the patients, so I wasn't shadowing any medical team. I wasn't actually talking to anyone medical. I'd just go into the ward and speak to older patients there who were staying in hospital for long periods of time. And that was once a week for 6 months, but that wasn't really very helpful, to be honest, so that was the last thing I did. So all in all, that takes me, to a large amount of volunteering time, and that is definitely overkill. You do not need to do that much volunteering. It was just, I kind of started doing one thing, started doing another, and never really realized how much I was doing until the end. Now let's talk about what you need to actually get out of each. So starting off with volunteering, no matter where you do volunteering, the first thing is to pick the right places. So you should be picking something that you're going to enjoy, because you don't want to do something you're not going to enjoy for 6 months, week, and also something that's realistic. So you're not going to be able to spend 5 hours every week on a Saturday, going to Newcastle and back for volunteering. That's just unreasonable. If you live in London, of course, So you need to pick something that's relatively local, something that I think 2 hours a week is enough. 1 hour a week is fine as well. So 1 to 2 hours a week is good. Something every week that you can do, maybe that's quite good. So maybe a shift at a charity shop, and something that isn't too strict. So you don't want to commit yourself definitely down. You're going to school and you probably have other things going on. You're not working, so you don't want to commit to a full contract. So you want to make sure it's something relatively chilled, so you can miss a couple of weeks if you need to, but the person who's going to be in charge of you knows that it's just a volunteering shift. Charity shops are really good for this, like the BHF was where I did mine at, and they're sort of good with this. They know a lot of sort of school kids come in for volunteering reasons, you know, just for community service, for their Duke of Edinburgh, for their medical applications. They know that they get a lot of these people in, so they're quite used to it, so I'd recommend them. Also, care homes are fantastic at this. They don't, you know, force you to come every week. They sort of let you come when you want for an hour or so to just talk to patients. They are really good at this because, again, they know med students love to use this as, you know, a booster for their application. So really find something that's local, chilled, and something that you'd enjoy. If you enjoy working with animals, maybe you can do that. It doesn't have to be, you know, working at a care home. That's just the typical thing that we use, but it can be anything. As long as you're providing a service to somebody, that is fine. And the most important thing out of this is what you get out of it. So you can do 3 years of volunteering, and if you get nothing out of it, and literally at the interview just sit there and tell them that you did 3 years of volunteering, that is not helpful at all. You need to be able to tell them what you learned from it and what you got out of it. So it's really important to keep a reflection log, which is like a little diary that I kept. And after each volunteering session, you write down maybe 1 or 2 lines, maybe 3 lines maximum, about what you got out of that session. If you literally got nothing out of it, just write down, I got nothing out of this today. And that's fine, because there are going to be some sessions where it's going to be super counterproductive and you won't get anything done. But it's really important that for the sessions that you do go and you do learn a lot, that you write them down, because by the time you come to compile this into your personal statement, you're going to forget this. Like, believe me, you will not remember it. So having a reflection log is really good, I think. You know, it's less about reflecting for work experience. It's more about telling them how you see yourself in the future and how your work experience has helped you confirm that you want to be doing this. That's the reason why you do work experience. It's not to learn medical things or to try out taking bloods or stitching, you know, all those things are for med school. You don't need to do those things now. I mean, if you do them, they're great, but they're not very particularly helpful because you will forget about them. The key thing with work experience at your stage is, can I see myself doing this in 6 to 7 years time? That is what you need to be getting out of this. Not, you know, learning about the cardiovascular system or learning about the respiratory system or learning how to put a cannula in. Those things come later on, and don't waste your time doing them. Focus on your A-levels and other things. The key thing here now is, can I do this in the future? And that's really all you need to worry about. So hopefully this video kind of gave you a little bit of an insight. I get that it's a really grey area and no one kind of tells you what to do for work experience and volunteering, but hopefully that gives you a bit more of a clearer template maybe. So now you can go forward and sort of pick what you want to do, have a go at it, and most importantly, like I've always said throughout the video, reflect on everything that you're doing. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, have a look at my other videos on medical applications, BMAT, MMIs, everything's in the channel. You can go and have a look at it. For more ideas, drop them in the comments down below or DM me on Instagram. And yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you in a bit.